I'm joined by Daniel Davis, Senior Fellow at Defense Priorities and former Lieutenant Colonel in the U.S. Army. Daniel, thank you for your time. What do you make of the small gains that the Russian army is making in the east, and what should we understand about the fighting there?
Well, that's not really the biggest concern for the Ukraine army on the Eastern Front. That's another. Mainly, it's making headlines because it's in an additional oblast into the Ukraine side that they hadn't been in before, at least not officially. But about a week ago, Russia side made a pretty big incursion at Pokrovsk, north of Pokrovsk, into deep into the Ukraine lines. It was 18 kilometers deep. Ukraine had to scramble their what may have been their last strategic reserves from the Azov Corps to stop that penetration, and then that weakened other areas on the front. And then in Kupiansk, Russia made an additional penetration around the backside of the city, putting one of the last lifelines into the city at risk and potentially surrounding that. And then in the last 24 hours, there was another penetration in the Zaporizhzhia area in the south. The bottom line is that Russia continues to press on all the fronts. And now you add in this Dnipropetrovsk area, and you can see that Ukraine is starting to crack on a number of places in the front.
Yeah, and what do you make of that, given that these talks of peace have been spoken about, President Trump pushing for talks, but doesn't seem to be getting anywhere with Vladimir Putin?
Well, he's not, because Vladimir Putin is well aware of the realities on the battlefield, and he sees his side is winning. And the reason why Ukraine is having these problems now exposes that they have an insufficient number of troops. It's not even at this point a matter of how many air defense missiles they have, artillery rounds, drones even, because Russia has the advantage in every one of those categories. But now then Ukraine continues to lose more men each month than it can mobilize into the force here. So every month they're getting weaker, and they're having fewer and fewer troops to try to plug these gaps. But the Russians have plenty of troops. And so that's the problem. It's for the Ukraine and the Western side, is that they're trying to get the Russian side to have some concessions, but the Russian side is in a position they don't have to give concessions. And until the Western side really comes to the conclusion of that, the Russians, as their ambassador said just the day before yesterday on our show, they're going to continue fighting unless they can get a negotiated settlement that they're satisfied with. And that's the real problem. We don't want to give them anything they want, but they do have the military wherewithal to compel our side.